Over 200 years ago, one family in Tennessee lived through a nightmare so terrifying it became one of the most well-documented hauntings in history. The Bell family didn't just hear voices. They didn't just see shadows. They were touched, beaten, tormented. And one of them didn't survive. This wasn't a ghost that lurked in the background. This was something that spoke, something that hated, something that killed. This is not a legend. This is not just a ghost story. This is one of America's most famous hauntings, a tale whispered across generations. This is the Bell Witch, a legend so terrifying it became a part of Tennessee's ghost story folklore. And her story, it doesn't end. But the Bell Witch isn't just a relic of the past. She is part of America's supernatural history. To this day, people hear her voice, see her shadow, and feel her presence in the dark corners of Robertson County. Some who visit never come back the same. Some don't come back at all. Tonight we tell her story, and if you feel something behind you as you listen, don't turn around. In 1817, John Bell moved his family to a quiet patch of farmland in Robertson County, Tennessee. The land was beautiful. The home was peaceful. For 13 years, they lived a perfect life. But one summer evening, that life ended. It started with a feeling, a presence, heavy, suffocating, following John Bell into his cornfield. John walked between the rows of crops, checking for pests. The golden light of sunset cast long shadows across the field. Then he saw it, a dog, or at least something that looked like a dog. But it was wrong, too big. Its limbs twisted at unnatural angles, as if its bones had been broken and reset over and over. Its yellow eyes locked onto John's, unblinking, almost human. A chill crawled up John's spine. He raised his rifle, but before he could fire, the creature vanished. Not into the corn, not into the trees. It was just gone. And when he checked, there was nothing. No footprints, no disturbed crops, just silence. Then that evening, it began with a sound, a scratching noise in the walls. The Bell children would wake up to gnawing sounds at their bedposts, as if rats were eating through the wood. But when they checked, nothing was there. Then came the knocks, slow, deliberate tapping, first on the walls, then the floors, then the ceilings. Every night it moved closer to their beds, as if something was inside the house, watching, waiting. Then it touched them, blankets ripped off in the dead of night, ice-cold fingers brushing their skin. The children would wake up screaming, because something was pulling their hair, dragging them across the floor, whispering in voices that weren't human. And then it spoke. "I see you, John. Do you see me?" At first, the voice was nothing but a whisper. But soon, it was talking to them, mocking them. It knew their secrets. It knew their fears. But John Bell wasn't the only one being watched. The witch had chosen another victim, Betsy Bell, John's young daughter. At night, she woke up screaming, her hair twisted in unseen fingers. Dark bruises appeared on her arms, as if something had grabbed her. And always, in the darkness, a voice whispered, "You will not marry him, Betsy." Who was him? Betsy was engaged to a young man named Joshua Gardner. But the spirit, whatever it was, refused to let the wedding happen. Every night, it taunted her, pulling her blankets from the bed, whispering in her ear. The message was clear: if you marry him, you will suffer. Terrified, Betsy broke off the engagement, and the moment she did, the voice fell silent. The Bell family had no choice. They told the town, and soon the legend spread, cementing itself as one of the most famous hauntings in American folklore. And the town came to listen. Neighbors sat in the Bell home, only to hear the voice themselves. It laughed at them, mimicked them, and when they tried to leave, it slammed the doors shut. Have you ever heard a voice in the dark whispering your name? Some believe spirits can only harm those who acknowledge them. Others say ignoring them makes it worse. What do you believe? Is this just creepy folklore, or is there truth behind it? Tell us in the comments below. But be careful what you say. The Bell Witch might be listening. The hauntings spread beyond the Bell family. Even the most powerful men in Tennessee had heard of the Bell Witch. One of them, General Andrew Jackson. In 1819, before he became President of the United States, Jackson traveled to the Bell farm with his men. They wanted to see the spirit for themselves. But as they neared the house, their wagon suddenly stopped. The horses refused to move. No matter how hard they whipped them, the animals would not budge. Then, laughter, low, mocking. A voice drifted from the trees. You will go no further. Jackson's men wanted to turn back, but the general, he smiled. By God, he said, I do believe that witch is real. That night, as Jackson and his men camped near the Bell farm, something clawed at their tents. They heard footsteps circling them. Then a scream. One of Jackson's men collapsed, shouting that he had been grabbed by invisible hands. By morning, Jackson left Robertson County. He never spoke of the Bell Witch again. The Bell Witch was no longer a whisper, no longer just a voice in the dark. She was real, and she was just getting started. For 3 years, the Bell Witch tortured the family, but she had one target, John Bell. His hands trembled, his skin turned gray. He began to see things that weren't there. A woman in a tattered white dress, standing at the edge of the woods, whispering his name. One evening, John's daughter Esther walked to the hen house. That's when she heard it. Footsteps. She turned and saw a woman in black, head bowed, walking slowly behind her. But Esther hadn't seen anyone on the road before. She walked faster. So did the woman. She stopped. The woman stopped too. Then, the woman reached up and pulled off her bonnet. Her black, tangled hair tumbled down. Then her hands moved, not combing, yanking. She was ripping out her own hair, faster, harder, clumps of it falling to the ground. Esther's stomach twisted. She turned and ran. Inside, she locked the door, grabbed her sister. Together, they peered through the window. The woman was still there, pulling, tearing her hair. But when Esther locked eyes with her, she froze. She slowly looked up. Esther's breath caught. There were no eyes, just black, empty sockets. Then, the woman turned, and she wasn't alone anymore. 3 children stood behind her, silent, watching. Then, one by one, they climbed into the trees. They turned, staring. Then they swayed. The trees groaned, rocking violently, but there was no wind. Esther's husband ran to the window. "What is it?" he said. But when he looked, he saw nothing. Only trees, swaying. After that night, Esther refused to step outside after dark, but it didn't matter. The Bell Witch had already marked their family for death. Days later, John Bell collapsed in the fields, his body contorting into unnatural angles. A scream tore through the air, but no one knew where it came from. John Bell grew weaker. He whispered to his wife, "It's killing me." The witch's voice taunted him night after night, until one morning he didn't wake up. The family found a black vial of liquid near his bedside, one they had never seen before. They fed a drop to a stray cat, and it died instantly. And then the witch laughed. But was it really the witch? Some say the spirit left the vial. Others whisper that someone in the Bell family helped her. At his funeral, the Bell Witch sang, a song no one recognized, but one that no one ever forgot. After John Bell's death, the witch vanished. But before she left, she gave one final warning. She told John Bell Jr. that she would return, not in a year, not in a decade, in exactly 107 years. That would be the year 1935. Some say she never came back. Others say she never left. The Bell Witch vanished, or so they thought. But some say she never left Robertson County. Instead, she retreated to a place hidden beneath the earth, a place where her presence lingers to this day, the Bell Witch Cave. Near the site of the original Bell Farm lies a dark, winding cave. Some say it was once her lair. Others claim it's a gateway, a place where the veil between the living and the dead is at its thinnest. Visitors who step inside report strange occurrences, shadows moving against the walls, unseen hands tugging at their clothes, whispering voices calling their names. Some have entered and never returned the same. One legend tells of a group of boys who disturbed the cave. One dared to take a rock as a souvenir. Moments later, an invisible force grabbed him, pulling him to the ground, choking him. His friends watched in terror. When he was finally released, a voice echoed through the cave. "Leave now." Even today, those who enter report hearing her voice, feeling her breath on their skin, seeing a woman standing at the entrance, before vanishing into the dark. So we ask you, would you dare step inside? After John's death, the witch disappeared. But did she ever really leave? To this day, the Bell Witch remains one of the most famous hauntings ever recorded. A terrifying figure in Tennessee ghost stories, forever lurking in the shadows. She is still seen, still heard, still waiting. Some stories are more than legends. They are real, and they leave a mark. If this tale unsettled you, it's just the beginning. Enter our Dark History playlist, a collection of the most chilling, real-life horrors we've uncovered. Watch it now. If you think you can handle the truth, would you dare visit the Bell Witch Cave? Tell us in the comments below. But be careful, she's still listening. If you love uncovering supernatural history and creepy folklore, don't forget to like this video. It helps keep the shadows at bay. And if you dare, subscribe and join us as we explore the world's most famous hauntings. But be warned, some stories have a way of following you home.